So in your opinion, I guess given these concerns, taking them into account, do you prefer Ethereum, I guess, as a hold over Bitcoin? Are you an advocate of the flippening?
No, not really. Not an advocate on it. I do think it's going to happen temporarily, at least. It may not stick. I think it's likely that it will flip, and then we could see a reflip back down. Um, Ethereum is great. I'm an advocate of Ethereum. I think it has a lot of use case as kind of like this decentralized like app network that people can build like more complicated apps on. I'm not one of the believers in ultrasound money. So
Okay.
that meme that it's a better version of Bitcoin, it's a better version of money, I think it just completely loses the game theory and the psychology and the philosophy of crypto. And I think it's very net negative to the space to think that Ethereum is like a different form of money. I think it's a great investment. It's a tech investment, and I'm supportive of it. And I think the tokenomics are great. Um, there's going to be a supply squeeze at some point. It's
Yeah, well,
inevitable.
we can see the massive changes since the merge. I mean, just to kind of contextualize this, if the merge had never happened, $1 billion worth of ETH would have hit the market. Since the merge, only 1.4 million. So it's 1,000x decrease in issuance. So that's a pretty huge discrepancy. Is that something that's made you more kind of bullish on Ethereum going forward?
Yeah. So my thesis for both Bitcoin and Ethereum being good investments in the long run is the same. It's based on a supply squeeze. So at some point, as long as you can believe that in the future, these two assets will always have buyers, there will always be people that want to buy them, and like new money will keep coming in. It's not just a meme. Like at some point, you will run out of coins, and what that
Mm.
means is there's like an elastic supply. There's a lot of people who just don't want to sell. They don't want to sell at 1,500. So there's a saying: the marginal barrel price is the lot. So it's kind of for oil. In oil, you have barrels of oil. What's the price of oil in general? It's like what's the marginal supply and demand. But that's just one barrel. And just because the price of oil right now is like $70, because right now that's where the balance lies. It doesn't mean that if you look forward in the future, $70 is a good prediction of where it's going to be. As long as people keep buying, and with Ethereum and also Bitcoin, the issuance is very low. So there's going to be a supply squeeze where there's not enough coins, and we're going to see an explosive movement at some point.
So you don't mind Bitcoin and Ethereum as long-term holds for that reason?
I think they're incredible long-term holds. It's hard to see how good they are because like I said, we just look at the current price. We look at the marginal barrel. But there's so many people that will not be willing to sell at 2K or at 2,500 or at 3,000. And then we'll just keep going up because there won't be enough coins. So the marginal coin will start exponentially moving as soon as there is more liquidity in the system. So we have
So
to wait for a liquidity cycle, but we'll see something explosive.
if you couldn't purchase any altcoins, let's just say the only thing you can buy is Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you had $10,000 to allocate between the two, what kind of weighting would you allocate?
Um, so even though in general I'm a bigger proponent of Bitcoin, right now I think it makes sense maybe to do like 60-40 in Ethereum. And the reason being the merge happened during a bear market. And I don't think it's been fully priced in terms of the supply dynamic that's changed because there hasn't been enough liquidity in the system to really create that dynamic. So right now, I would put a bit more on Ethereum until things rebalance.
Yep, that makes sense. So do you see Bitcoin dominance trending downwards over time, kind of as altcoins rise into the fray, and obviously Ethereum gains strength, or do you kind of see dominance staying where it is or even increasing from a
It
long
could
term
go,
perspective? Let's say over 5 years.
yeah, it could go both ways. I'm a little bit sad to see that the Bitcoin narrative is not doing great. I think it maybe needs like a new wave of thought leadership in the Bitcoin community. I think that the current like orthodox Bitcoiners that just kind of stick to the same talking points, everything else is a scam, only Bitcoin is real. And I actually understand the sentiment where it comes from, because I am a monetary maximalist. I don't think that society can organize itself in a way where we have a lot of decentralized monies. I do think that Bitcoin should be like the one, it's earned it based on being the first one and being kind of the invention and Satoshi's story. And so I think monetarily it makes sense. It doesn't mean everything else is a scam, because there's a lot of other use cases. And there's a lot of ways that things can work together. Like you can create DeFi protocols that then can use Bitcoin. There's a lot of things you can do. But I think right now the narrative is a little bit dry. It hasn't performed well during the inflationary environment in 2021. And I think until the security model gets resolved, which is why I'm trying to kind of bring up this conversation, it's hard for a lot of really large players to buy Bitcoin, not knowing what's going to happen in the next 10 years. I think there's going to be a renaissance at some point, and there will be a new wave to Bitcoin, and I'll hopefully try to contribute to that. But right now, being realistic, and I'm always trying to be objective, it's not a period where I can see Bitcoin outperforming massively.
This Crypto Shorts video is proudly brought to you by Unix Gaming, the leading Web3 gaming ecosystem. Not only a worldwide gaming community, Unix is a launchpad, a gaming studio, and a tech and content creator that serves as a bridge between Web2 and Web3.